Jessica Wheeler. I'm 34 years old and I'm the head of strategy at Publicis Communications, which is an ad agency based in Bryanston. So I finished school when I was 17 and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life after high school. I did really, really well in high school. I completely peaked too early, had all these opportunities in front of me and I really didn't know what it is I wanted to do. So I thought, let me go and study economics at Rao because everybody else was studying accounting or finance and economics seemed relatively interesting. So I enrolled and I lasted exactly one semester before I realized that actually I really didn't like the process of studying and I didn't really want to do it and I couldn't commit to doing it for 3 or 4 years. So I thought, I'll take a couple of months off, I'll go get a job doing some side things while I figure out what it is I want to do with my life. Got a job marketing a sports brand and kind of never even considered the fact that I would have to go back to university one day. And I actually couldn't face that prospect. I loved working, I loved being in there, and it never really, or not going to university never really held me back. So I didn't really feel the need to ever go back. Of course, I mean, I love learning. I love doing online courses, quick 6 weeks. Like I can commit myself to something for 6 weeks and then I'm bored and I want to learn something else. So, I mean, I suppose in the world we live in today, it's so easy to educate yourself that I really didn't feel the need to go back to university and study something. And I think in advertising, I don't think there's a prerequisite to have to do that. So I think strategy is such a difficult thing because I think it used to be really well defined in that the client would come and say, oh, I have a problem and my product's not selling, or I've got a competitor in the market that's taking my market share, and you know the work would first go to a strategist who would figure out, okay, what is the best message to take to your target audience, what is the best media channels you need to use, and it used to be quite a nice little box that we knew where we played in. But I think as the whole industry's evolved, the role of a strategist has come, you know, from being client-facing and understanding, well, exactly what is the problem, to being able to, you know, find the research and the data that we need to back up our opinions, because that's what strategy is at the end of the day. It's having an opinion and being able to back it up with data and facts and research and, you know, doing consumer interviews and finding out exactly what consumers think about the brand, what they want from the brand, what's missing, and then being able to kind of say that really concisely to a team of creatives and hope like hell that they stick to the plan. So I think most of our job is, yes, it's doing the thinking and the research and the smarts before we hand over to a creative team, which may be, you know, a copywriter and an art director. But more and more, you know, we actually have to keep tabs on the process all the way through because things are changing so fast. So if you're creating social media content, that environment can change in a matter of minutes. You know, when we make TV ads, they flat for a year. So you've got plenty of time, you know, to pick something up if it falls over. But in social media, it changes so fast. You actually have got to be, you know, have your finger on the pulse of things as they happen. So when something happens online, we're notified immediately so we can course correct. And that means recreating the content, rewriting a strategy if you need to do it. So it's quite an intense process. And I suppose it's actually become more of a process of micro strategy versus these big kind of 5-year long-term strategic projects where now it's on a daily and weekly basis to see how we need to change things or optimize or redirect media spend or change pieces of content so that it can work harder for the clients so they can actually get some kind of return at the end of the day. I think advertising has this reputation for, you know, really late drug-fueled all-nighters, you know, where we work to death and then we have a nervous breakdown and then we go to an institution to have a sabbatical, and it's not like that anymore. And I'm kind of a little bit bummed I missed that part of advertising, but it hasn't been like that for a long time. So I think that the perception is, oh God, you're a mom and you work in advertising, it must be so difficult. And it's really not difficult. I don't see how it would be any different in any other type of career. You know, I go to work the same time everybody else does, you know, 8:30 and 9 o'clock most days, and I leave the office at 5. And yes, I might have some work to do, but it's done after 9 o'clock, after my kids are in bed and the family is fed, etc., etc. So for me, it's always just been, this is my life, this is the life that I chose and that I'm passionate about. So you make allowances for those kinds of things, and I don't let my family life encroach on my work life, but more importantly, I don't let my work life encroach on my family life. So I've set really great boundaries with the people that I work with. We have a mutual respect of the fact that if you think I'm coming in to work on the weekends, I'll come, but my 2 kids are coming with, so they can come and mess around in the office in the pool table or the foosball table or whatever. If I'm working at night, it's not going to be at the office, it's going to be at home. So it's about the boundaries that you set, and I think that in advertising specifically, we probably have a bad reputation for thinking those boundaries don't exist, but they do if you put them there. When you give as much as you do, and when you work as hard as you do and you become a dependable member of the team, there's no reason for people to step over your boundaries. So I've never found it a difficult thing to juggle. So I think Women's Month is incredibly important, but for me the most important thing is that it's not just a month, right? We're women 365 days of the year, and we should be celebrating and being cognizant of it every single day. And I think what Women's Month does do is kind of give a little bit of focused attention, and as much as it's a reminder to the world and to South Africa, it's a reminder to ourselves to also just, keep focus and keep perspective. And for me, if you've got daughters, raise strong girls so that in 10 years' time or in 15 or 20 years' time, we've got a society of girls that aren't grappling with the issues that we're still grappling with in 2018. And raising a society of strong girls could be the most amazing thing we can do for this country. Independent women who are not afraid to think, not afraid to speak out, aren't happy to just sit at home and bear children and cook dinner. They want to go out and make a difference. So for me, a message for Women's Month would be raise strong girls. And if you don't have daughters of yourself, you've got friends who've got daughters, or you've got nieces or nephews or cousins. Our responsibility in this generation is to make sure that, even though we may have skipped, it may have been skipped for us or our parents or the older women around us, we've got an opportunity to shape a future for young girls, and that for me is the focus and always should be the focus.